Do you prefer wearing a uniform? Why or why not?
Yes, I generally prefer wearing a uniform. I find it simplifies my daily routine considerably. Not having to think about what to wear each morning saves a lot of time and mental energy. It also creates a sense of equality and belonging, especially in school or work environments. When everyone is dressed similarly, there's less emphasis on outward appearance and more focus on individual contributions.
Did you wear a uniform at school?
Yes, I did wear a uniform at school. It was a pretty standard uniform, consisting of a navy blue blazer with the school crest, gray trousers for the boys and a gray skirt for the girls, a plain white shirt, and a striped tie in the school colors. We also had to wear black shoes. It was quite formal, especially in the summer months, but it was the rule.
How did you feel about wearing a uniform?
Overall, I had mixed feelings about wearing a uniform. On the one hand, it was definitely convenient. It also fostered a sense of community and equality within the school. Everyone looked the same, so there was less emphasis on social status based on clothing. However, I also felt that it restricted my self-expression. I couldn't showcase my personal style or creativity through my clothes, which was a bit frustrating at times. So, while I appreciated the practical aspects, I missed having the freedom to choose what I wore.
Are uniforms common in your country? In what settings?
Yes, uniforms are quite common in my country, particularly in certain settings. They're almost universal in schools, from primary school all the way up to high school. Beyond education, uniforms are also prevalent in many workplaces, especially those that prioritize a professional image or require specific safety measures. You'll often see uniforms in industries like healthcare, hospitality, law enforcement, and transportation. For example, nurses, police officers, hotel staff, and airline personnel typically wear distinct uniforms.
Do you think uniforms are becoming more or less common?
It's difficult to say definitively whether uniforms are becoming more or less common overall in my country. In some sectors, like schools, they've been consistently prevalent for a long time and that doesn't seem to be changing. However, there are some subtle shifts. In certain workplaces, particularly in more casual or creative industries, there's a trend towards less formal dress codes, which might mean fewer strict uniforms. On the other hand, in some service industries or customer-facing roles, businesses might be introducing more standardized attire to project a professional and unified image. So, while I don't see a dramatic shift either way, I think there's a bit of a balancing act happening, with some sectors moving away from strict uniforms and others potentially adopting more standardized dress codes. When I was in high school, I wore a uniform that was simple yet formal. It consisted of a white button-down shirt with the school logo embroidered on the pocket, paired with navy blue trousers for the boys and a navy blue skirt for the girls. We also had a matching navy blue blazer and a striped tie in the school colors, which were blue and yellow. The shirt was made of cotton, which made it easy to iron and maintain, and the blazer added a touch of elegance to our overall appearance. On special occasions or school events, we were required to wear the complete uniform, including polished black shoes. The uniform design aimed to strike a balance between comfort and a professional look that reflected the school's high standards. We were required to wear this uniform throughout the school week, from Monday to Friday, during all school hours. The school I attended was a private institution located in the city, and wearing the uniform was a strict policy that everyone had to adhere to. It was meant to foster a sense of equality among students and promote a disciplined environment. Every morning, teachers checked to ensure that students were in full uniform, and that any deviations were promptly addressed. This rule applied to both classroom lessons and extracurricular activities held on campus. Even during school trips or official events outside the school, wearing the uniform was mandatory, reinforcing the school's identity wherever we went. The cost of the uniform was borne by the students' families. At the beginning of each academic year, parents had to purchase the uniform from specific vendors authorized by the school. Although it was an additional expense, the school believed that it would reduce distractions related to fashion and help students focus more on their studies. The school provided guidelines on the expected quality and style of the uniform to ensure uniformity across all students. Families often budgeted for the cost well in advance, knowing it was a necessary part of the school's regulations. Some families found the expense burdensome, but there were programs to support those who struggled financially. Initially, I found the uniform to be somewhat uncomfortable, especially during the warmer months, as the fabric was not very breathable. However, over time, I came to appreciate the simplicity and practicality it brought to my daily routine. I didn't have to think about what to wear each morning, which saved me a lot of time. The uniform also eliminated any pressure to keep up with fashion trends, which could sometimes be a distraction. Gradually, I started to associate the uniform with the academic environment and the focus it brought to my studies. Moreover, it made us feel united as a group, giving us a collective identity that reinforced camaraderie among students. Despite the initial discomfort, I grew to respect the values the uniform represented and the discipline it instilled in us.
Do you think uniforms are more important in some professions than others? Why?
Yes, I definitely think uniforms are more important in some professions than others. The importance of a uniform often correlates with the specific demands and context of the job. For example, in professions like healthcare or emergency services, uniforms serve a crucial practical purpose. They allow for quick identification of personnel in urgent situations, ensuring patients and the public can easily distinguish medical professionals or first responders. Uniforms also promote hygiene and infection control in healthcare settings, which is paramount for patient safety. Similarly, in industries like construction or manufacturing, uniforms often include safety features like high-visibility vests or protective gear, which are essential for preventing workplace accidents. In contrast, in more creative or office-based environments, the need for a strict uniform is often less critical. While a professional dress code might still be in place, it usually allows for more personal expression and doesn't serve the same safety or identification purposes. Therefore, the importance of a uniform is strongly linked to the specific requirements of the profession, whether it's for safety, hygiene, identification, or projecting a particular image.
How can uniforms influence people's behavior?
Uniforms can influence people's behavior in several ways, both for the wearers and those who interact with them. For the individuals wearing the uniform, it can instill a sense of professionalism, discipline, and belonging to a group. When you put on a uniform, you're essentially adopting a role, and this can affect your mindset and actions. For instance, a police officer in uniform is more likely to act in accordance with their professional duties and maintain a certain level of decorum. Similarly, students in school uniforms might feel more focused on their studies and less concerned with social comparisons based on clothing. From the perspective of others, uniforms create immediate visual cues about a person's role or authority. Seeing someone in a doctor's coat or a military uniform evokes certain expectations and influences how people interact with them. It can create a sense of trust, respect, or even intimidation, depending on the context. However, it's also important to acknowledge that uniforms can sometimes create a sense of detachment or dehumanization, as individuals might be seen more as representatives of a group or institution rather than as individuals.
Some people believe uniforms are outdated. Do you agree? Why or why not?
While some might view uniforms as outdated, I don't entirely agree. I think their relevance depends heavily on the context. In some situations, like traditional office environments or certain service industries, stricter uniform policies might seem less necessary today, especially with the rise of more casual work cultures. In these cases, a relaxed dress code might be sufficient to maintain a professional image. However, in other contexts, uniforms continue to serve important purposes. For instance, in sectors where safety is paramount, such as construction, manufacturing, or healthcare, uniforms with specific safety features are crucial for protecting workers. Similarly, in organizations where quick identification is essential, like emergency services or security, uniforms play a vital role in ensuring efficient operations and public safety. Furthermore, in some institutions like schools, uniforms can still be beneficial in promoting a sense of community and reducing social disparities based on clothing. So, while the need for uniforms might have diminished in some areas, they remain relevant and even essential in others, serving practical purposes related to safety, identification, and fostering a sense of belonging. Therefore, I believe it's not accurate to consider uniforms universally outdated. Their value depends on the specific context and the needs of the organization or institution.
Do you think uniforms will become more or less common in the future? Why?
Predicting the future of uniforms is tricky, but I think we'll see a continued diversification of their use rather than a complete disappearance or universal adoption. In some sectors, like technology companies and creative industries, the trend towards casual attire is likely to persist, making strict uniforms less common. Remote work trends might also contribute to this, as there's less need for formal workplace attire when people are working from home. However, I anticipate that uniforms will remain prevalent in sectors where they serve crucial practical functions. For example, in healthcare, safety-sensitive industries, and security, uniforms will likely continue to be essential for hygiene, safety, and clear identification. Moreover, as businesses increasingly focus on branding and creating a consistent customer experience, we might see a rise in more stylized or branded uniforms, even in sectors that haven't traditionally used them. So, rather than becoming simply more or less common, I believe the future of uniforms will be characterized by adaptation and specialization, with different types of uniforms or dress codes emerging to meet the specific needs of various industries and organizations.
What impact can uniforms have on a company's image or branding?
Uniforms can have a significant impact on a company's image and branding in several ways. Firstly, they create a strong visual identity. A well-designed uniform, incorporating the company's colors, logo, and style, instantly makes employees recognizable and reinforces brand recognition among customers. This visual consistency helps to create a professional and unified image, projecting a sense of order and reliability. Secondly, uniforms can communicate specific brand values. For example, a crisp, formal uniform might convey professionalism and trustworthiness, while a more casual, modern uniform could suggest innovation and approachability. The style and design of the uniform can therefore be strategically used to align with the company's brand identity and target audience. Furthermore, uniforms can improve customer perception. When employees are dressed in uniform, it's easier for customers to identify staff members who can assist them, leading to a more efficient and positive customer experience. This can enhance customer satisfaction and loyalty. Finally, uniforms can foster a sense of unity and belonging among employees. Wearing the same attire can create a sense of team spirit and pride, strengthening internal cohesion and contributing to a positive work environment, which can indirectly improve the company's external image.